In real terms, ano epekto sa atin ito? Kasi the numbers are although our numbers don't seem to be as high as the others, like for example China and Vietnam, pero are we looking at a significantly higher number, 17%? Even that nga, hindi kami sigurado, is that 17% final or 17% over and above the existing tariff?
Parang final naman po yun, but we're still kasi parang biglaan yung mga ganitong announcements, no? And we are taking a look at the very specific HS codes, no? So if you really take into account yung ating trade agreements, especially on electronics, makikita mo closer to 1% naman yun eh. So ang mga tinitingnan lang naman natin yung mga agricultural products, etc. No? But in relation to yung agreement in relation to information and communications technology, these are actually very close to 0%. No? So when it comes to the bulk of what we export to the US, no, so there should be very moderate impact on our exports. So yun po yung tinignan. But of course, we are taking napakadami po nitong mga produkto na to, no? So from 2-digit all the way to the 6-digit HS codes, no? So there will be particular nuances in terms of how do you apply these tariff rates to the exports to the US and our imports of US products.
Prop, ano bang status ng ating GSP Plus vis-a-vis the US? Yan ba ay napirmahan na? May mga bago bang mga pinasok na laman diyan? Ano bang status niya?
Parang nag-negotiate pa sila, no? So and I think very critical, and I think we can turn this around into our benefit, no, kapag talaga na-clarify natin in terms of this last touch policy, no? So kapag nag-last touch policy tayo, favorable and in a way parang acceptable na okay, dumaan dito sa Pilipinas dahil ang tataas ng mga reciprocal tariff rates sa ibang bansa, dumaan sa atin, and then we have a little bit of value added, and then the rate that will be imposed is on our reciprocal tariff rates and plus some preferential rates, and this should be opportunity for the Philippines, no, dahil tayo naman ay partner, no, kapag sa atin dumaan parang tayo na yung bumangka, no, in terms of these goods, no? So this we hope that this supply chain relocation and investment relocation would favor the Philippines in terms of us being the partner, being the last touch, and then this moderate reciprocal tariff rates will be applied. No? So that's what we're hoping for this negotiation and renegotiation in terms of these trade agreements.
Ano ba ang status ng mga dating mga trade agreements na allegedly na pirmahan ng Pilipinas with the US nitong past 2.5 years? Wala kasi kami nakukuha ng update na dyan eh. Ang alam ko lang, billions upon billions of dollars itong mga trade agreements na ito. Ano ang status niyan? Gaano karami na kaya yung pumasok? Kung may papasok.
In terms of trade, in terms of trade agreements or in terms of investments?
Investments.
So in terms of investments, I think we've been monitoring it from the side of BOI and from the side of PESA. So there are a lot of actual investment approvals already, and the location in terms of ang pinakamalaki kasi dito, as we know, malaki talaga yung kakulangan or potential shortage of our energy. So malaki yung pasok in terms of solar energy, onshore and offshore wind energy, and then yung recently signed in terms of yung mga micro nuclear energy, no? So and also these types of mga yung mga advanced manufacturing in terms of our contribution to the overall modern industrial and in support of e-commerce, digital logistics, robotics, no? So that's why etong mga ito, we are really at the center of all this investment decision making. So and if these things especially yung pati yung pag-inquire nila in terms of our new investing incentives. We have passed the Create More and its IRR very recently, and then we are heavily pushing on the tourism side. So kung lahat in terms of advanced manufacturing, tourism and hospitality sector, in terms of logistics, in terms of power, malaki ang competitive advantage of American firms in these sectors. At include mo pa dito yung in terms of critical minerals, of course, hindi pa finally napipirmahan yung mining fiscal regime, no? So I think it's already within the BICAM, no? So but if and when we have an optimal mix of new fiscal regime for the mining, so malaki ang contribution nga nito and game-changing environment in terms of investment as far as our, for example, nickel contributing to advanced manufacturing, advanced ecosystem for our economy, no? So providing all these mga batteries, electric vehicles, computers, no? So ito po yung mga inaasahan natin that should and many of these things actually have entered into the picture, except yung ibang mga items pa doon sa institutional reforms natin are being finalized, no? Most especially yung mining fiscal regime.
So, Mr. Balbiran, tama yun. Kasi yun ang reaction ng mga government officials natin eh. DTI, Department of Agriculture, pati Malacanang, sabi nila, although hindi maganda yung unang dating ng story, there are opportunities daw actually for us sa exports natin, although it might come at a cost. Siguro, sabihin niyo sa amin yung mga sector na most likely kung if they will if grab the opportunity na pwedeng maganda ang epekto actually nito. Saka kung sino yung mga pinakatatamaan talaga.
So in general, ma'am, no. So we are, the whole world is actually getting into this advanced
Yes.
manufacturing, no. So napakadami ng mga kung ano mga gadgets, computers, electric vehicles, etc. No? So nag-uunahan po diyan, especially that of course the whole world is aging. So we need all these mga AI, robotics, etc. etc. So we in a way hindi po tayo paputik into electronics, and so kung maalain po natin na papagdikit-dikit po natin yung mga components na yan in relation to investments, magiging favorable po ito sa ating electronics, sa ating manufacturing. So yung iniintay na natin, matagal na nating iniintay na manufacturing resurgence na hindi mag-research. So baka ito na po yung iniintay natin, no? And kung i-combine pa po natin to sa mga bago nating batas, for example, ng Amendment of the Public Service Act, wherein foreign companies can own 100%, no? So ng mga companies here in the Philippines, no? If for example, American companies will go here and own 100% in certain industries like transportation, communication, energy, airports, no? So if they are welcome here, no? So that should be favorable in terms of what Trump is seeking in terms of balance trade, no? So sige, mga Amerikano na yung mga nandito, mga investors nyo dito, and with there's more, that's 100%, and then there's so much expanded incentives, and then meron ka pang Retail Trade Liberalization Act, meron ka pang new PPP Act, that new PPP code that can be combined with the Public Service Act. So new foreign investments, yung amendment to the Foreign Investments Act. So we can really shape a country in terms of to these advanced industries, no? So ang maiiwanan lang talaga dito ay talagang medyo madugo, I think, no? Ang magiging madugo dito yung ating mga agricultural products, no? So because
Hindi ba yun ang problema? Kasi we are an agricultural country.
yes, ma'am.
At
So
market natin ang US eh.
yes. So ang kailangan talaga dito is to negotiate and renegotiate our trade deals in terms of our agricultural products, and perhaps we can really push in terms of really connecting yung basic agricultural products into high value products, so kung makikita natin yan sa mga ibang developing countries, they really push the boundaries of value adding. Kasi kung halimbawa nga yung mga saging versus banana chips, ang layo ng diferensya noon, and from banana chips to banana split in hotels, ang layo lalo lang ng diferensya in terms of value adding. So we have the magnitude of domestic consumption here. We have the hospitality sector. Our tourism is growing by 80% in 2022, 60% in 2023. We are awaiting for the 2024 numbers. So it's a combination of we're benefiting. We're trying to maximize the benefits of these trade deals, but at the same time, a large part of our economic growth is driven by our domestic consumption, number one. Number two, our domestic tourism. Pero padami na rin ng padami yung dumadating ng mga foreign tourists tsaka foreign investments. And so this should, when combined, would actually give us the unique selling proposition. Foreign investors, especially American investors, let's not have this battle for the tariff on goods. But in fact, if you take a look at our country, there's so much services that we can offer. America is a leading country in terms of services, advanced services. So why don't we just renegotiate our tariff for mga basic agricultural commodities, and let's have more trade in terms of services. And as you may have known, in 2024, our export of service has actually surpassed our export of goods. So in terms of this impacting our exports to the world, parang in general, actually our export of services has actually plateaued. In fact, it actually had the negative growth for 2024. But the export of service has actually increased. So let's take a look at these reciprocal tariffs from the larger perspective that actually our economy and our international trade is now dominated by export of service already. So therefore, if we are to renegotiate our trade position with America, so let's focus on services. And I think a lot of Americans are missing the point that America's comparative advantage is in services. The good news and bad news for our country is nag-skip tayo ng manufacturing kasi parang siguro tinatamad tayo sa fabrika, tinatamad tayo sa in-skip natin yon, and 60% of our economy is services. And now it is now being reflected in our international trade. And so our export of service is greater than our export of goods. So let's renegotiate, let's put on our best foot forward in terms of America, alam nyo, parehas lang tayo na malaki ang comparative advantage sa services. Kayo siguro sa finance, intellectual property, but we have so much here also for creative sectors, for intellectual property as well.
Prof?
And besides, yes sir.
Prof, nangangalahati na yung term ni BBM ng Marcos government. So practically, we have 3 years left. Medyo marami na silang ginawang adjustment, halimbawa sa kanilang growth targets. Dati from a high of 7 to 6, ngayon yata, hindi ko alam, baka 5.5. I'm not sure. So nag-a-adjust din sila. At during that time, nagbago ang US. They're becoming more insular. Diba? Because of the MAGA ethos, Make America Great Again. At nasa gitna tayo ngayon ng isang global trade war na ngayon hindi pa natin sigurado hanggang saan aabot. In the meantime, ay yung ating education ay dumadaos-dos pababa, which may have impact in the medium and long term, unless maayos natin yan dramatically. Yung ating agriculture ay patuloy na mababa, patuloy na mababa, at wala on the horizon, parang walang improvement na nakikita dito sa ating key sector in terms of agriculture. no? Basically,
Tama
sabi
yun,
nyo
sir.
nga, consumption pa rin ang ating economy, which is basically fueled by remittances from our OFW. Pero yung mga key corridors for growth na sustainable sana in the future ay parang kapos na kapos pa. Can this be dramatically altered in the next 3 years? Kaya tinatanong ko kanina yung mga commitment to investment ba ay pumasok na or are they still parang agreements na wala pa talagang pagdating? Dahil kung hindi sila papasok in the next 3 years ay hindi lamang political yung kanilang implication, no? Hindi lang economic. Lalo na nasa gitna tayo ng major battle of 2 giant dynasties, di ba? So yun yung elephant in the room Habang nangyayari lahat ito ay merong napaka-fundamental na away, no? Itong dalawa na ito in the shadow of the superpower game. So, in the next 3 years, ano yung dapat tutukan ng gobyerno para naman makinabang tayo dito sa sinasabi nyo na opportunities na ito?
Una-una, I think may great momentum naman in terms of our international trade. Again, as I mentioned in the services. But on the goods, tungkol po doon sa sinasabi po ninyo in terms of pumasok na, may mga billions of dollars na pumasok in relation to this advanced manufacturing na sinasabi natin. No? So yung mga advanced industrial chemicals, no? And then yung mga intermediate inputs to high-tech gadgets, equipment, robotics, etc. No? So pumapasok na po yan sa ating bansa and thanks to the Create More Act, no? And the other laws that I've mentioned. Ang tama po kayo doon, ang isang malaking nagdadrag ng Philippine economy and our growth, no, we've missed already twice the projections of IMF. 2023 we will grow by 6.2, 2024 we'll grow by 6.2, and both years we grew by 5.6. No, talagang dismal yung miss natin for that particular project of IMF in terms of our GDP growth. And kung titingnan natin doon, isang malaking nag-drag doon is instead na positive yung ating agriculture, no, which is sizable, no, 8 to 9% of our GDP pa rin yun, but it is actually growing at a negative growth rate, no. For 2024, that's more than negative 1%. So instead of contributing 2, 3, 4% growth rate, that should fuel 4 to 5% growth in our domestic consumption and 80 to 60% growth in our tourism. So ang tanong kasi natin doon, saan natin kinuha yung pinakain natin doon sa mga Filipino families and foreign tourists
Imports.
that have actually roamed around our country?
Imports.
No? So, imported,
Yeah.
imported food po yun. Kasi negative yung nag-grow agriculture. Hindi naman po mahirap isipin yun na hindi nag-grow yung production natin ng food, pero sobra-sobra yung tourism activity at sobra-sobra ang household activity in terms of tourism, transportation, recreation, concerts, lahat po ng yan, no? So ang malaking bumabawas, no, doon sa part na yon is this drag on imports, no? And that's why kung i-dissect natin yung ating trade deficit natin, dalawa ang major source ng trade deficit natin in terms of our imports. Yung number 1 is construction material imports, and number 2 is the food imports. So, and food related imports. So, kung yan ay mapababa natin, that should automatically contribute to a higher GDP growth, no? So 5.6 sa natin 5.7, 5.8, 5.9 all the way to 6, all the way to 6.2 na matagal nang ipinapanalangin ng mga taga-IMF. Pero kung titingnan nyo yung GNI, no? So another measure of national income aside from GDP, the GNI, our gross national income, was actually growing at 10% from 2023. And it grew by more than 7% noong 2024. So ano po ibig sabihin nito? Talagang sabi po, tama po yung sinabi nyo, OFW, binibigyan tayo ng katerbang pera, so bumabaha na po yung Pilipinas sa sobrang dami ng pera sa ating mga bangko, pero hindi po tayo nagpo-produce, no? So specifically, hindi po natin pinoproduce yung sarili po nating pagkain. No? And therefore, yan po ang nagpapamahal. So sa halip na nire-invest natin yan for our investment environment, binibili po natin yun. So parang namibigay po tayo ng pera mula dito po sa mga kinikita po natin.
Mahalaga-
so, yun po yung
Mahalaga, Prof, yung sinabi nyo, yung ating deficit in terms of construction materials at saka food imports. Ang problema lang, Prof, ang hirap niyan i-turn around dahil very structural yung problema. Di ba? Halimbawa, yung construction materials na sana pinoproduce natin, that entails a growth of our manufacturing sector na medyo malayo-layo pa ron. Yung ating agriculture, medyo it will take, I doubt, several decades bago mabago yan. Because it's a structural problem ng ating economy. So, saan natin babawiin yung deficit na yan? No? Yung import deficit na yan? Anong section ng ating mining? Kausap ko yung malalaki nating mining industry. Sabi nila, hindi sila optimistic sa halimbawa sa nickel. No, dahil nga tingin nila for the next 5 to 10 years ay yung revenues nila sa nickel ay hindi pa tataas because of the cheap cost of nickel globally. So, saan natin babawiin yan para maigpawan natin yung deficit na yan?
Tama po kayo. Sana nga naging advantage na natin yung nickel. Tapos kapag dahil dito sa mga tariff na to, mag-slow down ng global economy dahil lalong bababa yung demand for nickel, no? So medyo So saan po natin babawiin yan? So ang isa sa mga nakikita natin ay maraming salamat po doon sa mga nag-export ng service, no? So for example, talagang ang mga Pilipino talaga they found a way to really be resilient, no? So for example, in the construction space, there's so much happening in terms of export of construction services, no? So ito po yung dahil the world is aging and the engineers around the world are actually aging, they are very expensive and at the same time with low productivity. So if you are an engineering firm abroad, Europe, America, you'd rather buy some detailed engineering designs, architectural designs from the Philippines. And so that's what's happening. So yung BPOs natin in terms of offering architectural services, detailed engineering designs, construction advisory support, no, BIM, yung building information modeling systems, no. So yan po ay talagang lumalaki ng todo, and I think that the seats in the BPOs rendering service for these types of services are actually growing very fast, no. So in fact, I was just in a conference ng Philippine Overseas Construction Board, no. So and they have affirmed that there's so much demand from other countries, no, abroad in terms of Filipino engineers and Filipino architects in the Philippines, no, rendering that service, and we just send it online, no? So para kang merong OFW na nandito sa loob ng bansa mo, and in a way, no, that provides some reprieve to our trade deficit. Kasi kung nawala yon, we started with 1 trillion dati noong 2010, 2 trillion ang export of goods, 1 trillion pesos lang ang export of service. 2024, that's 3.4 ang export of service, 3.3 ang export of goods. And a large part of that is on export of, tinatawag po nila yan na digitally delivered services. No, and we're one with the other Asian countries who are leading the pack, no, in the United Nations Development Program report, no. So in terms of nasaan ba yung mga sunrise sectors, no? So yun yung digitally delivered service. Ibig sabihin, in order online, pinadala mo online. Kasi may iba, in order online, like Bulaklak, pero physically delivered.
Yes, sir.
So, pero ang nagiging advantage natin is, in order online, pinadala natin online. At isama mo pa dyan ang mga makukulit nating mga video, mga vloggers, mga influencers. Pinabayaran din pa yan. Export of service po yan ngayon. So, in a way, hindi maganda pakinggan kasi hindi naman pero ito na po yung sumasalo. Kung wala po sila, we would have been in a worse situation kung hindi dumating itong mga ganitong digitally delivered exports.
Sir, quick cambio lang before we need to let you go. But quick cambio
Yes,
lang. I'm sure you've seen yung tweet ng White House na yung kanilang reciprocal tariffs versus yung tariffs imposed by the other countries. This is the official tweet. I'm sure you've seen the supposedly the original tariffs, and I wonder if you see anything funny about the numbers. Kasi, for example, 90% daw yung tariff ng Vietnam, 72% tariff ng Thailand, 97% tariff ng Cambodia. Are these real numbers? I asked that kasi baka mamaya the premises of these reciprocal tariffs are faulty to begin with.
Again, the devil is in the details, no? So, you will have ang habang usapin yan in terms of the codes of the product lines, no? So nandoon naman yung kung saan mo i-apply yung tariff, no? So there might be, no? So there's most likely there's truth to those kinds of tariff, no? For example din naman yung ibang mga tariff, ibang bansa 100-150% yung mga tariff nila for some cars na ayaw nilang pumasok, no? So
Yes, sir, but that's not an
I
average.
wouldn't doubt that there's some truth to it, but in some detailed lines, no, detailed product classification, baka hindi applicable yung ibang mga tariff.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining Solid Con this afternoon. Economist Nilo Balbiran. Maraming salamat, sir, for joining us this afternoon.
Salamat, Prof.
Thank you.
Thank you, boss.